Good morning and welcome back to Power Breakfast. Today is Tuesday. You know it's Man Cave. The panel today, Full House Kama K, Sheila. Oh, that was cool. The panel today, Full House Kama K, Sheila K.
What's good? Good to be here.
Pastor Korea, Pastor K.
Pastor K?
Yeah.
And Roy K.
Oh, yeah. Look at it.
Look at that.
Is that the KKK happening right here?
Ooh.
Then Willis Allah.
Willis Allah. Allah. I think I should have a Kiraburu. Huku Kiraburu. Right, so today, of course, we want to talk about a very interesting topic as always. And it stems out from a story we read over the weekend, apparently, which, of course, the said party said was false, but somebody said this. It was a very highly anticipated and assured celebration of the birth of their child. And then all of a sudden, the blogs wrote that, sijana tafuta paternity test. And so that means that pengine anasema, according to them, mtoto si wake, but of course he's refuted these claims. Anasema tuwache tu tukae. And it goes back to the backdrop of cheating and lying, right? So, of course, Sheila is here. She'll help us give the women's perspective. Not that Sheila is cheating. In terms of, so, for a woman, is it that you're cheating or that you're lying about it? Which one counts?
Yeah,
and also,
define your difference.
And then also coming through in the background of that also happens a lot, because these days there are a lot of people who say, "Oop, that's not my baby." Yeah. So I guess let's start from the woman's perspective. Why is it, if you have a conversation with a lady, right? So you said, or you come and approach me and say, "I caught you cheating."
Yeah.
Is it that I was cheating? Because, I mean, in the context, women always kind of know
that they're cheating.
They know that they're being cheated on.
No, I don't think you'd say women always know that they're being cheated on, because people out here are genuinely, playing proper games. I mean, like
Game of Thrones.
Serious. I mean, even the person is like, let's lay our hands on the Bible. Let's go to the pastor for real.
Lay our hands on the Bible.
And then at the end of it, you find that this person actually has 3 families. So I don't think it's a situation of you actively know that you're being cheated on. Not to say that those people who don't know, there are those ones who've settled into that space of, okay, it's cheating, but I like the life that we've built together, so I'm not really going anywhere. But I think it's the same, whether it's guys or girls. I think cheating is cheating. I just think that for guys, guys are usually in denial about women cheating.
But it happens.
Yeah, I know. I think sorry, he's got a point there, but she's got a point there, but I'm coming here.
You're coming.
All of us, we are cheaters by nature.
That's the point.
That's number one. If you realize that, you choose not to cheat. It is you who have chosen not to cheat, but you have not avoided other not to cheat you.
So you're saying we're born liars?
Yeah.
We are. Everybody is born a sinner. We are not sinners because we sin. We are born sinners. It's only we choose a way of life. There are some who knows that cheating is the way of life. They live by cheating. You see, only that they don't know that it's a generational thing.
And by cheating here, we talk about the physical. Let's see, you are a cheater.
The physical one.
The physical one.
According to the research that is being done by somebody who knows exactly what he's doing.
Not a witch doctor, that's not research.
No. Even you don't know what research I'm saying. Just jumping before the drum.
Before the drum?
Yeah. Over 40% of ladies who have more than 4 children, one is not for that man.
Yes.
Say again?
Out of 40% of ladies who have got more than 4 children, one does not belong to the husband.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah? I've not said all. There is 60%, which is okay.
So is this like real statistics?
Yeah.
This is a fact, Sheila.
It's a fact. I come from
Sheila's statistic problem.
I have 3 siblings. I'm trying to figure out which one.
Which one?
Pastor, Sheila's problem first is the fact that the number 5 in terms of more than 4 children is not humanly possible 2018. What are you doing with more than 4? You're Elisha Zamani. That time you needed workers on the farm for
cheap labor.
Yes. Sasa you inaitwa child
and
abuse.
to us in our culture, it was there was a myth in Kikuyu that when you have more than 4 or 5 children, it's good to have another one from outside, so that even if you are being given poison, that one might be saved in one way or another.
Because there are secrets there.
There are secrets there.
Oh
so it was part of the culture. So cheating is not something new. Even cheating, when you can even tell, why do we sing to the children? Johnny, Johnny, yes, Papa. Have you eaten sugar? No, Papa. And the sugar is here. And the kid is saying, no, Papa. Why?
So because you're saying we're born liars and then we improve with time.
We improve. We
so
go improving. Yeah. I choose not to lie.
Not the art of cheating.
Not that I'm a pastor, but I can lie.
Oh.
I can lie. Because being a pastor does not avoid me from lying. But it's only that I have chosen to be straightforward in whatever.
You said you were coming heavy.
I was coming heavy, then this guy went
through that.
And sugar. But I'd support him to some extent that actually we are naturally liars. I think the only challenge right now is that a while back we grew away from our lies. We become better people, we become people with integrity. And today as we sit here, I think integrity is not a priority, right? Sasa, the problem is because the culture of relationships has changed, it has, what you're calling cheating is just a matter of life. It's not cheating. It's called MLM.
What's that?
Multi-level marketing. So unakuwa na watu watatu kwa relationship. So everyone has got the three options. Before when you're going out, ni msichana mmoja unajaribu na yeye. Trial and error. If it doesn't work out, you start again with round one, another one. But now everyone operates round one, three of you. Then we do multi-level marketing. Unaanza kutoa hizo ambaye hazifanyi kazi. The rest you keep. So so because of that, it is only natural that if you're doing multi-level marketing, you might end up scoring goals in two fields, right? And that ends up happening. So what happens is also the relationship develop. I mean, it's a game we're playing which is dangerous. I'm going out with three people who I'm trying to see whether I can take seriously. Yeah. As I'm doing that, I'm beginning to share relationship with those people. That relationship grows. So you end up finding, oh, the guy started off with 4 chicks, now he's down to 3. I've cut them down to 3 that he's only dating, but he gets close to 2. So what are the chances? And the women are doing that. So me, I'm blaming everyone. The fact is, I'm not calling it cheating anymore, because that's the way you began to accept is the nature of how relationships are built. We've developed a negative culture for that.
But that sounds like there is no hope at all.
Let me tell you, look, me, I don't even know how people are dating in 2018. I gotta be honest. No. Let me tell you, I'm very, very honest. If there's anything I've ever said on this show that's the most honest thing, I don't know how people are dating in 2018. I have not seen even one genuine relationship. No, I don't know what's happening inside yours. No, but I'm speaking for myself, okay? I'm speaking for myself. I don't know, even it's so disheartening. Even the ones that you're looking at and you're like, oh, that is the pride and joy of society, that's the motive. You know what, when I get into a relationship, I want to be like, wait a minute, is that guy cheating? Oh my God, the wife is, oh my God, what is this? Right. Everybody's cheating. So, but I feel like what cheating is like normal. But
that's not the worry.
But what is worrying is the levels to which people want to convince themselves that they are not cheating, that it's not happening. As in, the games that are being played now are so dangerous to anyone who even wants to get into a relationship, and you're like, you've come from a relationship where you're all playing games. You leave that relationship. How are you going to start a genuine relationship with someone else? With all the baggage that you've carried from that one. Of course, now you come knowing that, especially if you've been cheated on, you're not going to to another relationship giving someone trust. So you go there, holding your cards to your chest. And the person who you're needing is also holding the cards to their chest. That is a precipice for disaster. And that's what's happening. Everybody is coming in with their own, protecting yourself. That never used to be the case.
We're not setting up a good precedence by the way we're behaving, because I think what we're accepting is that the cheating is being accepted as part and parcel of life.
And that's what I was saying.
Yeah,
because it's
that's worrying that you're saying, oh, because now it's no longer cheating. It's, I'm seeing which relationship works. I think what the point of difference comes in is if you're already in a relationship. I think what is interesting here is because of the nature of those relationships, what is it creating? An extra child or an extra this or an extra, or you find out certain things. So now you're in the relationship. And I think it's about, I would move away from cheating being a way of culture, which we have already accepted, is wrong and is a way, right? But now that it's there, when it's discovered.
Yeah.
Well, should I then accept it because it was a culture? I say, oh, you did that. That's understandable. That's the way things are today. But can we repair this relationship? So now forgiveness will become harder. Yeah, it'll become. I mean, sorry, it should become easier because we should then be accepting it as a form of culture. Yet we're the same ones who, if we find out, we have issues with it. Yet
but
we know it's going.
And before Pasi gives his comment, so what is cheating? Because remember, just before when we were discussing, and I said cheating is a physical aspect, Sheila was like, "Whoop, that's not necessarily what that is about." So what is it then in this?
I feel like even for ladies, I mean, the fastest way to know that someone is cheating is you don't smell them until they smell like someone else. No. I've seen that.
Maybe
no, that
the people have got multiple smells.
No. What?
They smell like 4 people.
If you really want to know someone, especially when someone steps out of your relationship where it's almost unacceptable, is when emotions are involved.
Right.
If it was physical, yeah, I can forgive you. But like, if
what do you mean? If
yeah, because I know that's just mahanja. You get what I mean? Like. Things happened, the right scenario. It was warm enough. You guys were close enough, and something happened.
And the weather's been bad.
The weather's been bad.
The economy
You guys were caught up in an
the
elevator. I don't know. But you guys, you're actually sitting down. The things that you usually tell me. Unamwambia yeye. Hapo ashaingia katikati yetu. Ashaingia. Hiyo ingine ya physical ameshikilia tu ka kiparasite tunaweza tu kigata. But tu mwingine sasa ko katikati. Unanielewa? As in, that place that I'm supposed to, those things that you're supposed to be telling me, that comfort I'm supposed to be giving you, you're taking it to someone else. So you don't even necessarily have to meet physically. It's already happened.
So even if, sorry, Pasi, you're going to be next. So even without, what you're trying to say is that, so even without there being an actual physical, it's what they call, I think, emotional cheating.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And that's where it starts from. The fact that because when you're exchanging messages with someone, that means you're trying to get to know them.
Right.
If you met this person in the club and you just went and got a kilojo somewhere and you maliza dio mambo and then you're even trying to remember her name after that, then I'm just like, you're stupid, but like, that story imeisha. But this is someone who, as in, you're even making plans, You're texting each other. You're willing to go behind my back. You're willing to cheat me. To be with them.
So to lie.
Yes, you're willing to lie to me.
Okay.
To be with them. There's
that's
something more. Yeah, that's a problem.
This is a very interesting program that you have chosen about.
So you're saying cheating is, sorry, I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
Cheating is the emotional
aspect of it. There's
there.
different kinds of cheating.
And that's the worst.
So for you, that's the one that disturbs you.
Yeah. Physical, you guys.
There is one thing I would like you guys to understand that cheating. I think it's a kind of a spirit because you can even cheat yourself. That's the worst thing.
Yes, yeah.
You can cheat yourself. And that's why Jeremiah chapter 17 verse 1 says, the heart of a man is very deceitful. It can even tell you that you are going to live in this world forever. And you start behaving as if you are a stone.
Or like the president of Congo.
You get me?
The immortal president.
So this is why I'm saying, everybody who is valuing his future and everybody who gives his family a value, they have to inherit you. I don't think you would like your children to inherit lies, for heaven's sake. You would not like. That is you. So what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to be a role model. And even when you lie, because sometimes you lie when even you don't know. Sometimes we are not ourselves, and especially when you're angry. You are not yourself. You can talk and talk and talk and talk, and when you come back to yourself, you start saying, oh, I'm sorry. Whoever you have lied first, and then you say sorry, that person may forgive you, but will never forget. So it is good to have good morals. Let's not dwell in the rotten culture, the rotten morals that we have. We can change. Let me ask you.
Yeah. In your wisdom, do you think?
Oh, you use the
because
word
now,
carelessly.
no. I've had, and I say wisdom because he also comes back to it, a book, with information, the Bible.
And a book with information.
Yeah, as in he has backup.
It's not a dictionary, it's the Bible.
Yeah,
can you allow me to just say what I'm saying?
You better be used to him.
I'm tired of you, bro.
A book.
Can I ask my question?
Yeah.
And you see, Pasi said that we just need to change, and he always uses that. He says that you because it's murky, don't get in and do. Let's find a new way, which is beautiful. But do you see where we've come as society, we came from good morals. Everybody likes to say before it was good, it was better. You know, people were respecting culture, tradition, all that stuff, right? And then now we're moved to this place where now the culture and the norm is cheating. Do you think that we can reverse it?
Yeah, that's reality.
Shira, whatever you know, somebody taught you. And I don't believe that effective communication guarantees effective truth.
Ish, come on now.
I'm going to write that down and think about it later.
maybe the teacher who taught you what you know communicated error effectively. And because you had nothing, your mind, your vacuum, you just caught it and grabbed it. And so it is very hard to get out of it. But everybody who is a complete human being has a space to adjust. Everybody who is a complete human being is adjustable. You are not so fixed that it is like this, it's like this, it's like this. A wise man always changes his mind, or her mind. So what I'm trying to say here is, it is possible not to lie.
You're not getting me. I'm asking, okay, fine. Me, I've decided I don't want to lie, okay? Maybe in the previous relationship I was cheating and now I'm done with that. Now I want a different way of life. And so I've seen what Pastor said on TV and I'm saying, okay, you know what? I'm gonna stop cheating. But not everybody else has changed. I'm talking about, do you think, because this is society, we were living in society and everybody was doing this, where we were, you know, we were upholding morals and all that stuff. That was the whole of society. So it was not that I'm standing here by myself upholding morals while everybody's got moral decay. But what we're talking about right now is this, we've agreed here that when it comes to relationships, there's a huge moral decay. Yes. Huge. I've listened to you and I'm like, okay, fine, I'm going to stop cheating. But does that ensure that everybody else stops?
No, it doesn't.
So that's my question is, are we looking at this situation and saying, because we keep saying, let's take it back. Let's go back to when we had morals. But me, I'm saying, is it possible to go back, or we just need to start looking at the new reality?
Okay. Good point. I think there are two aspects to it, and the 2 points there's a one point. Each of them, you deal with them in a different way. One point that Pastor keeps bringing is that we have to go back to the society of the individual, where you're doing things not based on what the culture and set trend or new culture is or new movement is, but you're doing things based on who you are. Yeah. I think there's a lot of individualism a while back, where what I do is I say, Pastor keeps telling you, evaluate, is it good for you? Evaluate, is it bad for me? Evaluate, is what I'm doing good for everyone, them and me? Before you start now talking about the fact that, you know what, that's the way things are. So there's a worry that right now we're living too much in a social culture. Everything we're doing is driven by what people think or feel about us, rather than what we feel about itself, which is what is worrying. So it will make the trend harder to change. What Pastor is suggesting is, yes, we can go back there if the individual begins to do things because he believes in them. But now there are more sheep in 2018 than there were sheep when our fathers were raising goats, cows, and herds of animals. Right now, we keep saying, me says Fanny kazi ya mashambani, but we are goats. So we're already doing kazi ya mashambani.
Greatest of all time.
Because we're all following as a crowd. Yeah. He's suggesting we go back to the individual. Start evaluating things for yourself.
But let me ask you, don't you think that we're in an individual society?
We're not.
Because think about it like this.
You mean selfish?
Yeah, exactly. It's all about the individual, your instant gratification, what you get out of it, and once there's nothing to get out of it, moving on. And the worst part about it, like I've already gotten what I need from you, but I don't have the energy and time to cut you off. So what do? I know I'm done with you. I now start messing around with Willis and make this whole situation so complex and tangle you in and blah, blah, blah,
because it's cool,
until
right?
I vomit you out. It's like this. I feel like people have become so selfish.
Yeah, but you
so
see, remember,
yes,
they're selfish, yes, but the biggest priority in their selfishness is to get acceptance from others.
Society.
It's acceptance that is the biggest thing you're selfish about it. You're going to do anything and sell your integrity for anything to make me look like the hero among the big crowd of zero.
I think a lot of guys have raw esteem, and a lot of lies is coming from there. When somebody is trying to justify him or herself, I'm doing the right thing, because he or she does not want anybody to approve him or her that you are wrong. Whenever you don't want a teacher in your life, then you are a nobody, I think. We need teachers. We need teachers to teach us something new.
So can we agree that it's our parents who really mess this whole story? The generation before this one of ours, is the one that messed everything.
Let's not put a pointing finger to
it's me. I'm not saying our fingers. It's my fingers I'm pointing.
You're pointing at your parents.
I'm pointing at my parents' generation. Why?
Okay.
Every time we sit here, we say, oh, you know, our grandparents, you know, they used to have to do what, and then the next generation, single parents started there. Am I like single parenting, which is basically men absconding their fatherly duty. Yeah. Okay, there are kids who are raised in that society.
But I think they are singles by choice.
Hold on. You're still in being raised by parents. You're seeing them fighting. You're seeing them cheating. You're seeing stepchildren everywhere. My guy.
That's what you.
But let me ask.
You have a situation where people don't even want to get married.
But let me ask. In that, speaking of
this
that,
is influence.
Speaking of the past, going back there to the past.
Story is forgiving. Let's forget about the cheating. Going into that cheating is very complicated. It's an individual decision. It's actually the forgiveness which I'm more concerned about. Yeah, about whether we're mature enough.
Are we talking about your own personal experience right now? Are we helping you out?
We have lost something in life: dignity and integrity.
In the meantime, let me just remind guys the hashtag is mancave, and the SMS line is 22422 for your comments and suggestions and views. 22422, and just to also throw it back even as you speak, borrowing from both of y'all. First of all, but in the past, thinking about the past, you know, there were polygamous families.
Yeah.
There was that myth that Perseus talked about, like lazima kukuwa na kamtoto ka nje. So that's the setup. And then again, there are the people you're talking about, where somebody grows up and wana wazazi wanapigana, and they grew up in those polygamous families. You have 12 family members, so you have stepbrothers, stepsisters, and you're thinking, kama father alihack, si hata mimi naweza hack. So is it that, going to Roy's point then, do we just generally have to, okay, my bad, let's forgive and let's start our own culture moving forward? Kama how Ali said culture and you're saying it stemmed from them, sasa sisi tunaweza anzisha yetu.
Exactly. Which is my question.
I'm not saying we accept it.
My question is, because every single time we have a conversation here about cheating, about whatever, what issues to do with relationships, well, they say we should go back and, you know, borrow from.
But for this back, kurevisit ni mbaya hii. Cheating hatuwezi revisit.
This world is not going backwards. It keeps moving forwards. We keep evolving. Keep in mind, there was a time us guys couldn't vote. We were wearing Kipande system. And at that point, people were thinking that things would never change.
You understand when they say history repeats itself?
No, I get what you're saying. But what I'm saying is, there's no moving backwards. You can't tell people now, we need to start borrowing or emulating from.
That's what I'm saying. How do we move forward?
But you see, what we're saying is, sometimes you go back to collect values. Because that's what is lost. We're saying step back and see what was the value, collect from. We're not saying step back and where the, because I don't want to see Pastor naked and go back to what guys used to dress in. Definitely. Because these are things which are, they can wear.
You cannot unsee.
Yeah, you cannot unsee it. So the fact is, I'm just saying, I'm not saying let's go back and dress in animal clothing, right? But we're saying go back and collect value and use it to drive you forward. When you're saying that let's not dig back, you look at the environment. It's one of the most basic examples of, you always have to start digging back and seeing what has been done right. Let's go back to some of those practices, start doing them. Because as is right, history repeats itself. We'll go back and start looking at the environment that we've been throwing stuff around, go back, recollect ourselves and start again. It's, you know, it's a full cycle. So the reality is you have to pick back and say, how come it's working there and not working here? Then see where the values, where the balance is. And you say, at the back, you're like, okay, were our parents cheating? Yes. And was it being accepted? Is that the difference? It was not being accepted? Or what is the story? How come? They just have different values towards it, right?
When I say we don't look back, I'm not saying that we ignore it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you must understand that the reason, these things, there's nothing new under the sun. This cheating, this what, you know, like even nowadays, I was telling someone, soon, and mark my words, there's going to be a lot of stories of serial killers in Kenya. And then someone said, why would you say something like that? I'm saying, first, before we used to work to feed ourselves. So we didn't have time to do things like serial killing and stuff, which doesn't mean that there was no serial killer seated there thinking about things like this. But now we have money. So you can spend 3 hours working and 21 hours just sitting, yeah? So you have time to think about these things. On top of that, social media has enabled you now even to stalk people. You don't even need to walk around and stalk them in their houses. You can stalk them on social media. And that's done. The point is, my point is, when it comes to all these things have been happening. They've been happening. It's just that now they're more pronounced. The technology, life has changed. And so when people are cheating, you see, he was saying for tradition, it was important to keep that one, but there was a purpose for it. You understand? There was a purpose for it. People knew about it, but they were not talking about it, but there was a purpose for it.
Then,
now,
but the question is that
now we have a situation where a guy will marry you and tell you you're the only one, because society has taught him that we're only working with monogamy. Keep in mind that was a polygamous society. And he will carry on with those traditions by himself that nobody has approved in this day and age. That's where the problem comes.
I think what I'm saying is that when we keep dignity and integrity, we are going to leave a good inheritance to our children. So this is a personal thing. You as an individual, you are the one who is going to choose to change. Otherwise, the change must begin in somebody. You cannot change others when you have not changed yourself. So I have to change first. People see what I'm doing it in the right way. They admire it and they copy. And as we grow and as we continue, we are going to leave a legacy of people who are not liars. But if we don't value dignity and integrity, what is the inheritance that we are going to leave to our children?
So is there, okay, so let's say it happens, because I know there are people who are watching and saying, maybe this has happened to me or is happening to me. What does someone do? Is there coming back from it? I mean, we know what the problem is, and I keep saying, what are we going to do moving forward? Because I still believe that we are in a position where, with everything that has happened, with all the knowledge we have, we can set our own path moving forward for, like you're saying, the next generation. So what happens? What is the...
Let's first judge by how we reacting to the current situation when it happens. Right. It's not your child, for example, right?
Right,
yeah. Everyone cracks a joke about it's not your child. The eyes are
with that, and that's that pure 40%
the second eye is from another guy in Switzerland. Poor near sponsors you kutoka Mombasa. So by the time you mix it, your child is a whole heal the world. Yeah, it's just collection of all sorts of tribes and cultures. And this advantage is the kid will speak many languages from the different fathers. But I think the challenge is, you look at a situation with, then what is your role? Are you going to accept it? Because remember, it's a result of the current culture. Because the way someone can be pointing at the lady and saying that that's not my child from the lady, the guy himself was doing the same thing to another 2 or 3 women. So he probably has also planted not a seed, a whole farm somewhere, right? And it's growing all over the place. So you're turning around to victimize people for a certain situation, a certain culture that you've all been part of.
Right. And
I think then at that point, because you've all been part of this culture, there's a level of responsibility you need to accept in that culture.
But let me,
I'm not saying that, because I'm not, you get where I'm coming from. I'm not saying, let's not throw stones in glass houses. Let's not point fingers. And let's resolve the problem together. Because
so you're saying for the dude to say usi mtoto wangu, hata yeye anafaa kujiangalia, like you say, because what kind of, why you
I think this is a situation where a victim comes out and says, oh my God, this happened to me, and they're like, oh, what were you doing to deserve this? That is not the right way to approach the cheating lie, because now we are vindicating the person who actually committed the crime and saying that the victim is there, must have contributed to it. I can tell you for a fact. Being cheated on is not something that you did anything. That is, and Percy said it here. That is you choosing with your integrity, a lack of it, and lack of dignity to go and do this to the person. And which is the point I was trying to drive here. If you feel umechoka mtu, so much. The society we live in is that you're so, that's why I keep saying it's so selfish. It's all about me. You know umechoka mtu. Umemchoka. Okay. But you're in a marriage, now you're just like, you're thinking, by the time we divorce, by the time we start splitting, we have to tell everybody, you know, I'll forget this person. I'll just stay with them. And then you go and start a new relationship. You're trying to frustrate this person so they can cut themselves off.
But Sheila, I'm saying we're
hold on, Roy. The point is, at the end of the day, in the society that we live in, where people cheating left, right, and center, people must accept their part, their responsibility. Yani kenye umefanya, not the other person must have made me cheat. No. Number 2, cheating is common, as in it's something that's happening everywhere. If you want to know it's happening, how many gadgets and detectives do we have for relationships? There, in fact, now they even stop you on the street. They're more than M-Pesas. You know what I mean?
For relationships.
Yeah. for you to be busted, you think you're being slick, there's a detective who's following you. You know what I mean? Yeah, so at the end of the day, what I'm saying is that I feel like Pasi here is the only one who has a solid solution, which is everybody needs to be, you need to self-evaluate. But my question, which is what we haven't answered, as I'm self-evaluating here, for the person who's watching at home, what protects them from not getting cheated on?
Now, Shira, let me tell you. When you're officiating a marriage in the church, there is 2 questions we ask the guys who are getting married. Are you going to leave the rest and follow this man alone?
But you're hearing he's lying.
Listen to me. The girl says, yes. That means they were there. You are leaving them. But they were not asked the same question. So they have not decided to leave you. So it is you now to make a decision and to have power to make a decision to leave them. Even when they send you a good message that nowadays you just ignore the message, because if you keep on entertaining them, yeah, if you keep on entertaining them, then you are giving them a field, to exercise their foolishness. So what I'm trying to say is, if I change, my children see that I have changed. My wife see that I have changed. For example, we have been drinking. And when we started saying that I don't want to drink again, you did not tell anybody. You just stopped going to bar. And then the wife is asking you, hey, kwani siku hizi haukunywi? Naambia si unaona tu kuna change. And from there you changed. And you did not shout. So there is no need of shouting that I'll never lie. You just stop lying, do the right thing, let people see, and they'll follow you.
See the change in you. But that's
you see, that's why Jesus one time healed a guy who had a bent hand. And when the heart was straightened, Jesus told the guy, don't tell anybody, because there is no need of telling anybody I'm healed. They can see. Don't waste a lot of calories telling people I'll not lie. Do the right thing, and they'll see. They continues.
There's just 2 conflicted sides here, Willis. We're talking about 2 things. We're talking about after the fact, and then we're talking about finding a solution. First of all, I don't believe that we have to find a solution. We just have to talk about a situation and how people deal with it. I don't have to come and say, I have no moral authority to come with the answers and say, this is the answer, and this is how we're going to stop it. No. I have no moral authority. I'm a human just
You only give guidelines.
People out there in the market, I can give guidelines. But what I can help someone with is talk about a situation and say, hey, what are we doing about this kind of situation? And you keep going back to remember after the child, because everyone here is dealing with the part, looking for who to blame for where the society is, where things are, who's going to change the society. Well, here we're discussing, hey, let's discuss a situation. How should we actually be handling that particular situation? The child is here. You found that the child is not yours. What's the mature thing to do? Now, if you're going to step back and say, hey, deal with your crime, you messed me up, hey, get out. It doesn't matter whether me was also doing the same thing somewhere else. Let the child go. Who's the victim? Who's the first victim?
The child.
The child.
Yeah. And you have to ask yourself, the question is, what's your role, Because I remember you did accept this person or to go out with them. They don't have to be married. You could have accepted to go with the person because of who they are. Not because of having a child or not having a child. You went out with the person. Now all you have to do is evaluate how much this relationship means to you in order to accept this. Not blame. You see, we keep sitting here and we go back to let me go back to the book that Sheila called the book of information that this guy had. Otherwise known as the Bible. Pastor keeps going back and refining the Bible. And remember, we pulled out the child. In which King Solomon, right? And start deciding whether to divide the child or cut things into. Because that's what happens when you concentrate on blame games and not on resolving yourselves and saying, hey guys, what do we do about the situation? Right, and I've still not had Sheila's opinion on whether we cut the child into 2.
No. That's what I'm asking. So what I'm getting from you is that in that situation where you found this kid is not yours, you just take them.
I said it's not a quick decision of you're guilty and you're not guilty.
But you're considering staying with this child, and you're like, you don't want to make the child a victim. You're forgetting that you're a human being. This is not the easiest thing to do. It's not. Imagine forgiving someone for cheating. Now forgiving them and having to look at this child and having to spend money on them on a daily basis. For me, the whole issue I keep going back to is, we know that cheating is, I feel like we're dealing with like the crumbs on the side. Yeah, Pasi will say, everybody look at themselves. Roy will be like, you know what, let's deal with it maturely. But we're forgetting to say, okay, why the hell is everybody all of a sudden just cheating? This is not something that 40 years ago everybody was talking about cheating. I remember it very vividly. Jimmy Gavi used to come and tell guys here on TV, watch Mpango. And I'm like, what is this kind of story? What kind of stories this guy is telling us? And then you start looking at the statistics. What? People in marriages are just out here perambulating with other people in marriages. So now the question becomes, guys, okay, let's deal with the headaches and the signs and symptoms that your legs are swelling and forget about the pregnancy. Let's deal with the pregnancy. Is it possible that maybe monogamy doesn't work? Is it possible? Because you want to deal with all the side effects, rather than maybe you shouldn't be prescribing to this even in the first place. We're talking about this used to work with our forefathers. They were polygamous. Okay? Yes. Now we're here trying to teach new stuff and tell you, wait, strap up, okay, one babe, and those other ones keep them a secret. And then now we're dealing with all the children, the unwanted children, all the forgiveness and nini, rather than
but I'm still interested in an answer towards that problem. She doesn't want to have a view on
what's the question?
I asked you clearly. So that has happened. So we're not clearly getting your stand because you're going into what should be done to change. How do we move society? Me, I want a situation.
I'm not moving society.
No,
I want
just talking about a situation in black and white. You said here and you're saying it should be up and go. Me, I'm saying it's more complicated than up and go. It's not an up and go decision. It is a lot of evaluation and balances that go here. I'm saying, you tell us, when the situation occurs, what's your view on that situation?
Of course, you see now, that's why I said we're dealing with the side effects. I mean, there's a baby there, of course you have to be mature about it. That's not the time you start saying, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's an unfortunate situation, and you have to deal with it when you get there. It's the same thing as finding out someone has cheated on you. As in, you have to, it's not somebody will tell you, me imagine I get cheated by the way out. Now, as in, you find the Aziz cheating on her left, right, and center, and she's not giving you advice to leave your person. I mean, take your time, be wise about what you want to do. But me, I'm saying the system is flawed.
Can we say, although we are not winding up, but let me say this as I wind up.
We are almost winding up.
There is nobody who is perfect.
We have 4 minutes.
Everybody is looking for perfection. But it depends you are looking from who and where. So me as a person, when I'm bringing somebody to be a role model to my children, then I have to look at that guy, the background, where he's come from, because if we could have picked Abraham to come and teach my children not to lie, and he has already lied that Sarah is not his wife, yeah? And when he gave birth to Jacob lied the same. Isaac lied the same. Where did Isaac got the right from? From the father, inherited. Isaac gave birth to Jacob and Esau. Jacob lied, Esau. And then Jacob went to Laban. Instead of getting the right lady, she got the wrong one. He was right. Where does the right come from? It is an inheritance of a certain kind. That's why I said it's a spirit. And you can, as an individual, you can work to get it out of you. But there is nothing we can stereotype and say this is how we do it.
But you're stereotyping because
no, I'm not stereotyping. What I'm saying, I'm not looking at one-sided as you are doing it, because you're only looking at the side of a baby.
The crime.
Yeah, only on the side of a child. Lying, I think it's in many areas of life. Not about the child is not mine, and the child is not the son is not my child. Oh, that's not the issue. The issue here is, how are we going to deal with that spirit of lying, which is always now everybody is taking it as normal?
You do know that we're having the same argument. That's exactly what I'm
That's where she's
saying.
Coming from.
Look, at the end of the day, what I'm saying, you see, okay, the example of Esau and Isaac and Abraham. I could use a similar example. I could use a similar example with the story of Wakanda. The father committed a crime, right? He cheated. The son came and fixed the crime. You understand? So this is, when I say this is an individual society that we live in, people do mistakes and then they want to say that, but it is happening. But it is happening. Everybody does it. Me, my solution, and what this whole conversation started with that celebrity whose child and now
allegedly
paternity test, blah blah blah. is this the first time we've had stories like this? No. This is even nowadays it's so common that there are hospitals all over the place and clinics and people who have opened lie detector paternity tests. Why? What does that tell you? Why does that tell you? You want to tell me before there were no parents who are being children who are being born out of wedlock? It was happening, but now it's become such a problem that's entrenched itself in society. And the worst part about it is that we're not addressing that, okay, is it possible that this system is flawed? We're addressing, tomorrow it will be, then, there's a new style of cheating that has come up, and we'll sit here and we'll be like, oh, guys, have you seen the new wave? How do we fix it?
We can't fix things like
I'm not saying about fixing. I'm just saying
like that's the situation.
I can't have a conversation about what should this person do when we're at the end of the day, I'm like, maybe the system is flawed. The system is flawed.
Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, we are going to take final comments, and I read a few comments here of people who are fungwaring roho, and then we wind it up.
Inaitwa ukienda kujua kama mtoto ni wako, it's called a DNA test, not a
paternity.
I said paternity test.
But ukaanza na lie
detector. Alisema paternity.
Guys can beat the system easily. That machine can't work in this country. Lie detector kila mtu atapita. Wanasiasa watapita. Anyway, ask what you want to ask.
No, the final comments as time imefika.
You know why I picked an individual situation particularly was because I felt that it is so hard for us to sit here with any moral authority and start talking about how this is how we'll fix this, this is how we'll fix that, this is how we'll fix that. But I felt it was more interesting for us to look at a situation and see what would you do in this situation and try and discover what's going on and use it as an example of where we are as a society by picking a situation and saying very complicated when you're here. One thing I do agree with Sheila, and I want to say that I'm on close on agreement with that, is that the way the society is, we carved out that society that ended up having the child like that. It is us who made that situation exist. But I say because of it, I think we also have a level to own the problem. We need to begin to own the problem, because if that's the society we live in and we created, then we also need to take ownership of the situations and problems that come from that kind of a society and deal with them. Not now at that point turn and say, moral high ground. You did this wrong, I did that wrong. I think we should take responsibility and ownership. Even if the child has 6 different parents, I don't know how that's possible, take a level of ownership.
Right.
Of the problem and the society and where we are.
What my brother is saying here, that for us to be a free society, we must show a certain level of responsibility. And responsibility and freedom goes together. We can change. And I'm telling everybody who is watching us, we can change. You can stop lying. You can show your kids not to lie. You can teach the society, neighbors, and we can do like that, because whatever is impossible with man, it is possible with God.
For me, I think my final comments would be to that couple. Maybe the first thing, don't be letting people into your relationship. How did they come to that conclusion that there needs to be a DNA test? I mean, whether it's a true story or not, which means you're letting people too much into your relationship. And which is what is causing problems in just nowadays relationships. So I think for this couple, and especially because the baby is, they should just try and, as much as you're out there and you're taking photos and everybody knows what's happening in your life, have a level of privacy.
All right. I just want to take a few comments so that to see what pale. Guys are saying that sometimes somebody says it's not just because you want to cheat. Somebody says, what next for a man who, after the first kid, wife and a son, no more children, and he wants more children? Do you cheat or marry a second wife? Somebody says, well, I must say Sheila has a point, but you guys, you've ignored Sheila's point. It's true that most of us are polygamous. In fact, men should be allowed to have 3 wives, he says. Thanks for the discussion. There is also an issue of the birth certificate, and I guess he says that the paternity test will help. That's Pastor Nicholas. And then somebody says no one is perfect. That is true. And then if someone is cheating, you need to make a change. And if they're cheating, you need to leave. It is a harsh world. Don't be so nice. Those are just some of the comments that were made. And of course, we'll just like to say that at the end of the day, like we say, we'll discuss
Can I ask
it.
You before you wrap
and then,
up?
yes.
Just say yes or no. If someone cheated on you, would you take them back?
No.
If someone cheated on you, do you take them back?
I forgive.
If someone cheated on you, do you take them back?
I'll definitely consider it.
Okay. If it was Chile's here, they would be saying yes. So that's where the problem begins.
Kaboom! All right. At the end of the day, this is our personal stance. You make your decision, because at the end of the day, it is you who will have to live with it. Thank you so much for watching our breakfast. Wahiga Maura is next. Wahiga Maura is coming up. Talk about the transport sector. And then we'll have different shareholders from the NTSA to different shareholders in that sector as well. And you can talk as well using the hashtag Citizen Extra. And then after that, he'll be hosting David D, who is the chair of the People's Assembly. After they suspended it for a while, what is next? What is the way forward? So you can join in that discussion using the hashtag Citizen Extra at Citizen TV Kenya and also at Wahiga Maura. On behalf of Freddie Nimoli, Joy Mudhengi, asanteni sana for watching our breakfast. We'll see you tomorrow. It's Thursday. After that, Matkesho ni Wednesday. So tomorrow we'll have Workout Wednesday. So we'll work out, alafu Thursday tukule. Lakini Wednesday tunafanya hii mambos. Si tuonane kesho basi. Yeah? Peace. And I will proudly say, John Kianda, I hope you're listening. Successful people look like you. And the great Manchester United.
And the Kenya Sevens.
Oh, and the Kenya Sevens.